So what I wanted to share with the audience was something that I shared with Carter. This is why we are creating this podcast or this YouTube video for you guys. It's because there was a war tactic during that time in Vietnam, a biological warfare, you can call it. They used a herbicide, right? So what they would use was the herbicide. This herbicide was called Agent Orange, AGENT, agent, like secret agent, Agent Orange. Now, Agent Orange was used to basically kill all the plants in agriculture. So basically, they would choke out the Vietnamese army, the Northern Army, and it was approved by the Southern government. And even the UK got involved, and they were saying, "Hey, you sure this is safe?" and stuff like that. They're like, "Oh, you can drink this shit like it's nothing. It's like water," you know. And people didn't give a fuck, and they said, "Okay, let's go." So they start dumping barrels and barrels and barrels over the amount of the span of 1971 to 1961 to 1970 or 1971, roughly 10 years. Like, you guys have to look this stuff up, okay? So they dumped Ancient Orange into the waters, right, to kill off the agriculture and get rid of all the jungle warfare. They did guerrilla warfare in Vietnam. They were hiding in the jungles and underneath the grounds and creating traps and all that stuff like that, landmines, everything, right? It was there's rules of wars if you actually, look it up. And whatever's happening in Ukraine and stuff like that, obviously, you guys know that rules are out the door at this point. Like, nobody's enforcing it. But anyway, during that time, they started dumping a whole bunch of Ancient Orange, which was that herbicide, that liquid, into the water, and people were bathing with it. People were showering with it. People were drinking from it. Keep in mind, there was no plumbing like how it is today. So there was wells, right? That went back in 1994, we were drinking out of the well, and I remember that. So like, there's no way in hell that they figured out how to clean out that Ancient Orange during that time. So we're talking 10 years. I think it was 20 million gallons. 20 million gallons. You know how big that is? Hold on. Let me check this out. All right, I don't know. You Google 20 million gallons, but what I can tell you is that they dumped it on 4.5 million acres. You know how big 4.5 million acres is? That's a size a little bit less than New Jersey and bigger than Connecticut. That's a lot of land. And when you look at the map, Google Ancient Orange map. I put it on the screen when I have the time. But my family drank out of that water, and your family drank out of that water, right? And the reason why I'm bringing this up right now is because if you actually go onto the Vietnam Veterans website, you'll see that today there are people claiming, about 5,500 claimants only as of today, that are claiming Ancient Orange. I guess you can say the GI program bill, right? They're paying out everybody $39,000 if you served in Vietnam from this time to this time, right? And they're collecting benefits. I don't want to even say benefits, because it's not fair for them, because they didn't want that, But they're getting compensation for whatever is that had happened to them, and only to find out that this was passed on to their children as well, right? Now, when we hear Ancient Orange, we think, oh, I know you talking about those kids with those weird, the disformed looking face and all that kind of stuff like that. I'm like, no, that's just what you guys understand, because that's what you guys see or were recently told that in the last 15, 20 years. But new information has been coming to light recently. And that's why I'm talking about this, is that if you go to their website, right, you're going to notice a lot of things on there that's going to make you feel very uncomfortable. Because now there's a whole bunch of things that they're saying that if you have these things, keep in mind, for the United States government to say, hey, if you have this, you can collect the money, that takes a lot. That means that there's a lot of evidence that Agent Orange caused this to happen for them to want to compensate, for them to take money out and pay off these people.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
mean,
there's evidence.
Obama was the first president to actually first time to step back into Vietnam since the war, I believe.
Hmm.
And he I think he started that whole
Oh,
Agent
okay.
Orange of
I have no idea.
um,
I want you guys to
giving
do the
money back to
research and
them
you
for
guys
that.
tell
Yeah,
us what you guys discovered, because this is just
yeah,
me trying to be just trying to inform. I'm not trying to scare anybody. I'm trying, whatever just stuff like that. But I want people to be informed about this information, because what I'm about to tell you is that these things that are listed, people dearly close to me died from this in their 50s, 60s. My uncles, my sis, my aunties, and possibly your family or your siblings, right? Like, I don't know exactly what happened to my mom's sister, the oldest sister, but she died at 5 years old. You know, and I don't know exactly her birth date, but we'll find out in the future. But my uncle, right, died from unknown. My auntie died from unknown causes in her 20s, right? This is my dad's side, by the way, and my dad's little brother died from the war, after being drafted, right? After he left, so he had to live with that. But on my cousin's side, which is well, I don't want to say any specific, you know, my uncles have died from um, prostate cancer, lung cancers. Okay, this is what's listed. My auntie, my friend's mom recently just died from bladder cancer. So bladder cancer is listed on there. Chronic B cell leukemia is listed on there. Hodgkin's disease is on there. Multiple myeloma, is that, I don't even know if I said that right. Non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, prostate cancer, respiratory cancers, including lung cancer, some soft tissue, sarcomas. Man, I can't even pronounce half the shit. But recently, like, I have another list that I couldn't even bring up. But damn, I wish there's more to it. But hyperthyroidism, whatever it was,
hmm
I just found out I got that.
hmm
And how I knew was from this website, because I've always had a problem with excessive sweating. Anybody that knows me, like, yo, they see me in Vietnam, I be dripping, leaking. Like, I can't handle heat very well, and I can't handle the cold very well either. Only when I drink, it's fine, But I have excessive sweating and sweaty palms, and I have tremors. I never knew that my tremors came from that. And the reason why I know that is because I looked at my old blood work, and I saw that my T3 and T4 levels are off, and I need to go in and get a check. And that's how you find out through those. It's the thyroid, checking your thyroid.
right.
And I didn't even think about it until my mother-in-law told me, "Hey, you might want to check your thyroid because your hands are very trembling." And I was like, "What?" I said, "Damn, mom, Hong Kong." Oh, by the way, my wife is Hong Kongese. She's from Hong Kong. My mother-in-law is from Hong Kong, and we'll get into the story about that later. But anyway, yeah. So furthermore, right, there was more information that came to light, and this is through the media, by the way. I'm gonna leave all this in the link in the description box, by the way, and you guys can go look at it yourself. But there was something that caught my attention, which was the grandchildren of the GI Bill, right, which was me, right, people my age or even people younger than me. There's an avalanche of evidence, right, that majority of them have attention deficit disorder, and they have dyslexia and depression. Well, when you have ADHD untreated, it leads to depression. Just to let you guys know that you'll eventually find out sooner or later. But if you got everything in life, then you're fine. You know what I'm saying? You probably just got substance abuse issues. You know what I'm saying? But for the most part, this is all real information. I'm not telling you guys to believe anything I said. Just do the research yourself. But these GI people, they've been trying to fight for this for the last 20 years. There was an actual, I'm gonna link it too as well. There's an actual panel of people that talk about how it affected their parents, to them, to their children as well. They're trying to get, right now the GI Bill, they're only covering I guess the people that served the war and their kids for birth defects, right? But it basically turned into something just much more. You know, and that's what I'm trying to come across. It's like the reason why I'm seeing all this too as well, because I did some little research too, and autism was listed on one of those too. That's something that I wanted to share. Is because it's been happening around my community. Like my friends, you know, more than 6, 7 families that I know that don't know each other have autistic children, and I just kind of saw the pattern. I was like, this just doesn't make any sense. Makes no sense at all. But I'm also seeing people have struggles having children. But you know that's another total subject. But lightning struck twice. Usually in these type of families, I mean, the thing about it is this, right? When these type of things happen in the family, the first thing people are going to do is try to Google why it happened. It's just only normal. You want to figure it out. But the same thing is that's when the finger pointing starts to happen. We start blaming people because when you actually Google autism, they say that it's from the male. So when people hear that, they blame it on their husbands. It's natural.
Yeah.
But all I'm asking for people to look into is that, hey, maybe this was something that we were dealt with.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe this is something much more than just your husband going out and drinking and do cocaine every weekend with me. I'm sorry, you know, but
Well, me, not with you.
no, no,
But yeah, no, like you guys have to do your own research and kind of think more and think back to the timeline. Like, you know, there's a lot of shit that happened during the Vietnam War. One of them being Agent Orange, and other things we probably don't even know about. But there's a lot of defects that possibly could happen from these dangerous chemicals. And
yeah.
shit, you know what I'm saying?